all Victorians. Great to have you on the show. Let's start by talking about the past story, which is obviously what's going to happen in the budget. A tough balance between spending for now and a saving for later. Aaron, what do you think of thoughts on the budget?
Hello, great to be with you. I mean, we now see why the Prime Minister was looking to call the election for April 12th. He clearly didn't want to bring down this budget because, as the Treasurer confirmed today, it's going to show deficits as far as the eye can see. And the opposition and many, if not all economists for 2 years have been pointing out that the only reason the Albanese government delivered surpluses was because of revenue upgrades that they had no control over and no influence on. And actually, spending was increasing and increasing, which was driving inflation. And that's why the RBA governor called it homegrown inflation. So this is confirming what the Prime Minister was trying to run away from by having an April 12th election. The reality is that Australians are struggling because this government has no plans, no economic solution to the challenges they face. We'll see that laid out next week, and it's really disappointing that it's going to be a big struggle for the Australian people because of the failures of Anthony Albanese and Jim Chalmers.
Sam, are these criticisms fair?
No, absolutely not. The Liberal Party have a very short memory. Let's just recap. It's only 3 years since the Labor government were elected, and the Scott Morrison government were turfed out by the Australian people for very good reason. They left Australians with $1 trillion of Liberal debt. Just think about that, $1 trillion of Liberal debt. Of course, we knew that the inflation issue peaked when Scott Morrison was still the Prime Minister. The Reserve Bank began putting up interest rates while Scott Morrison was still the Prime Minister. So we inherited a very difficult budget situation and a difficult economy to manage as a result of the Liberal government's mismanagement of our economy. I mean, they didn't even manage to order vaccines in time. So there was nothing that you could rely on that Liberal government for. And just 3 years later, we've delivered multiple budget surpluses. All of the budgets that the federal Labor government have delivered have been in surplus up until this one. So we've turned their $1 trillion of debt and their decade of budget deficits into 2 budget surpluses, which we've then been able to fund critical things such as our Medicare system from. So this has been a massive turnaround. Now, we know that these natural weather disasters have big impacts on our economy. And as has been laid out today, there's a $1.2 billion hole blown in our economy by the terrible disaster in Queensland and northern New South Wales. And the Liberal Party trying to play politics with these things is very unbecoming and shows no respect to the people of Queensland and New South Wales, people who've had their lives, their homes and their livelihoods put at risk through this process.